stop scrolling? Because if you think you know 1960s pop music, you've already missed some of its best bands. These are not bad bands. These are great pop bands that should have been huge but somehow got forgotten. And here's the crazy part. At least one band on this list sounds so good, you'll wonder why nobody ever told you about them. Picture the 1960s. Bright suits, big hair, catchy melodies, songs made to sing along to. Everyone remembers the famous names, but behind them were bands just as talented. Miss these bands, and you're missing a whole side of pop history. You don't really know 60 Seconds Pop until you hear the ones that got left behind. So today, I'm counting down 10 forgotten pop bands of the 1960s who deserve way more, starting with number 10, and trust me, the top 5 will surprise you.
And when I see the sign that
Number 10, The Left Bank, Walk Away Renee. This song feels like a soft goodbye you don't want to say. Picture a 1,966 summer night, your little radio playing low, and you're watching someone you like walk away down the street, and your chest just feels heavy.
the empty sidewalks on my block.
The Left Bank were a New York City band that mixed pop with fancy strings and a harpsichord, like pop music wearing a suit. Walk Away Renee came out in July 1966 on Smash Records, and it was recorded at World United in NYC earlier that year. It hit no 5 on the Billboard Hot 100, so yeah, it was a real hit, not a hidden rumor. And it mattered so much that the Four Tops later remade it and turned it into a big moment on their side too. Fun fact, the main songwriter, Michael Brown, was only 16 when this whole sound happened. Like, imagine being that young and writing a song this grown and emotional. And the Renee story is often linked to a real person, connected to the band basically. Teen feelings plus real tension equals classic record. Why it's forgotten? Underrated. They had 2 big singles, but they didn't get to live in the spotlight for long. The band kept shifting, and their music was so layered it was hard to recreate the same magic outside the studio. Also, their first album went out of print for decades, so new fans couldn't easily find it for a long time. Real heads, keep this one like a secret key. This is Crate Digger Gold. Keep listening, because number 9 isn't fancy and sweet like this. It's got a different kind of pop magic, and it hits you fast. Number 9, The Illusions, Gypsy Woman. This one feels smooth, stylish, and a little mysterious. Picture a 1,967 dance hall in Australia, lights low, couples slow dancing, and this song floating through the room like perfume, soft, classy, and cool. The Illusions were a Sydney, Australia pop band, active in the mid-1960s when British pop ruled the world. Their biggest moment came with Gypsy Woman in 1967, a pop soul cover that turned heads and climbed into the Australian top 10. The song is about loving someone who feels free and hard to hold, simple feelings, but very real. They were signed to Festival Records, one of the biggest Australian labels at the time. Look into your crystal ball and tell me where my baby. But their music didn't travel far outside the country. Today, their work is seen as a cult classic by collectors who dig deep into 60 Seconds pop history. Fun fact, many people thought the Illusions were a British band because their sound was that polished and international. But nope, they were fully Australian, proving that great 60 Seconds pop wasn't only coming from London or America. Why It's Forgotten, underrated. They came from the wrong place at the wrong time. Australia didn't have the global push that UK and US bands had. No big international tours, limited promotion overseas, and then the late 60-second sound changed fast. Real heads keep this one like a secret key. This is Crate Digger Gold. Keep listening, because number 8 is raw, louder, and closer to garage pop, and it hits completely different. Number 8, The Daybreakers, Psychedelic Siren. This one feels like a teen dance in a small town gym where the lights are too bright, the floor is sticky, and the band is playing like their life depends on it. And then that siren sound hits, and everybody turns their head like, yo, what was that? The Daybreakers were from Muscatine, Iowa, and they were a big deal in their region around the Quad Cities. A DJ named Jack Barlow helped them record at Columbia Recording Studios, and Atlantic Records put out their single on the Dial label. The record was Psychedelic Siren B, Afterthoughts, and it dropped in December 1967, and it became a local regional hit, even if it didn't blow up nationwide. It's not the kind of song that's trying to teach a lesson. It's more like feel the chaos, feel the energy, feel the moment. That's why it still sounds fresh. Psychedelic Siren. It's clean. Fun fact, that weird siren sound wasn't some fancy studio trick. It came from a primitive electronic device, like an early homemade synth vibe. They used live too. And even though the song says psychedelic, the band said it was more about the sounds and styles of the time. Psychedelic siren, wailing in the night. Not drugs. Why It's Forgotten, underrated. Here's the sad part. Even after the song got hot locally, Atlantic lost interest, and the band didn't get the big push to keep recording and growing. So it became one of those, if you know, records that collectors kept alive. Real heads keep this one like a secret key. This is Crate Digger Gold. And the next one, bigger city energy, bigger hit pressure, and the hook is so loud you'll feel it in your chest.
Was itching to practice a bit of his clowning, and Taylor Dougie Millings gives guitarists like Mike Millwood a place on the premise.
Number 7, The Foremost, A Little Loving. This one feels like young love on a cloudy Liverpool afternoon. Picture a small record shop, coats hanging by the door, the song playing low while you're thinking about that one person you like but don't know how to tell. The Foremost came straight out of Liverpool, the same city that changed pop music forever in the early 1960s. I don't know where I heard it before. I only know it's true. They were signed to EMI, Parlophone, and here's the big deal. John Lennon and Paul McCartney actually wrote songs for them, including A Little Loving. That song came out in 1964 and went all the way to number 6 on the UK singles chart. Which means this wasn't a small moment, it was real pop success. Their songs were about simple things, liking someone, missing someone, and hoping love works out. The kind of feelings everyone understands. So give me something to remember. Fun fact, the Foremost were part of Brian Epstein's circle, the same manager who handled the Beatles. But instead of copying the Beatles' sound, they leaned more into sweet harmonies and gentle pop, which made them softer and easier to overlook. Why It's Forgotten, underrated. The problem was timing. When you come from Liverpool in the 60 seconds and the Beatles are standing right next to you, everybody else gets ignored. They had hits, talent, and great songs, but history only had room for a few names. Real heads keep this one like a secret key. This is Crate Digger Gold. Keep listening, because number 6 steps away from sweet harmony pop and moves into a sound that feels bolder, louder, and way more surprising. Goodbye. Goodbye. Number 6, The Others, I Can't Stand This Love, Goodbye. This one feels like teen heartbreak with the windows down. Picture a small-town American night in 1966. AM radio on, lights flashing by, and a kid realizing love hurts for the first time, fast, loud, and honest. The others were a garage pop band from Rhode Island. Part of that raw 60-second scene where bands played basements, gyms, and local halls. I Can't Stand This Love Goodbye dropped in 1966 on Capitol Records, and it was produced during the peak garage rock era when simple songs with big hooks ruled the airwaves. The song is about young love going bad, no big poetry, just straight feelings. This hurts, I'm done, I'm walking away. It didn't crack the top 10, but it became a cult favorite, later appearing on classic garage rock compilations that collectors swear by. Fun fact, this song lived a second life years later when crate diggers and DJs started hunting old garage records. A lot of people heard the others decades after the 60 seconds and thought, wait, how did this not blow up? Why it's forgotten, underrated. They came out at the same time as hundreds of garage bands, and only a few got real label push. No big touring machine, no flashy image, and no second major hit meant they faded fast when psychedelia and harder rock took over. Real heads keep this one like a secret key. This is Crate Digger Gold. And the next one? Bigger sound, bigger ambition, and a band that should have been world famous. Number 5, The Vogues, 5 O'Clock World. This song feels like clocking out of work and finally breathing again. Picture a late 60-second city street, tie loosened, shoes a little dusty, radio on low as the sun starts to drop. It's calm, hopeful, and grown-up pop music for real life, not just dancing. The Vogues came from Pittsburgh. And they were all about smooth harmonies and clean pop melodies. 5 O'Clock World came out in 1965 on Co and C Records, produced by Nick Sensi. And it was about a regular guy stuck at work all day, just waiting to live his real life after 5 p.m. The song hit top 5 on the Billboard Hot 100. Means this wasn't small at all, it was everywhere. It later became even more famous when it was used as the theme song for the TV show The Drew Carey Show, giving it a second life years later. Fun fact, the singer sounds like a grown man tired of the world, but the band members were still pretty young. That working class feeling was acting, and they nailed it so well that adults thought the song was written about them. Why it's forgotten, underrated. The problem was time. In the shelter of the... Their clean, sweet pop sound got pushed aside when rock started getting louder, longer, and more rebellious. They kept making good records, but history only kept 1 or 2 songs. Real heads keep this one like a secret key. This is Crate Digger Gold. Keep listening because number 4 doesn't sound polite or smooth at all. And that's exactly why their story gets even crazier. Number 4, The Human Binds, Nobody But Me. This one feels like a bright, wild 60 seconds dance floor where everybody's snapping, shouting, and laughing at the same time. Picture a little AM radio in your kitchen or in your dad's car. And the second that no, no, no hits, the whole room starts moving without asking permission. The Human Binds were a garage pop rock band from Ohio who signed to Capitol Records in 1967. And here's the funny part. Capitol even left the G out of their name, so Beings became Binds. Their big moment came when Capitol released Nobody But Me on the 24th of August 1967, and it grew into a real national smash, peaking at number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 inches early, 1968. The song is actually a cover written by members of the Isley Brothers, but the Human Binds made it sound more playful, more loud, more jump up right now. They followed it with the album Nobody But Me, produced by Alexis de Azevedo, and even the album did okay. No, 65 on the Billboard 200, but the world still stamped them as that one-hit.
Nobody but me.
Fun fact, this song is basically built on the word no. It pops up over and over in under 3 minutes, like a kid refusing bedtime. And that's exactly why it's so fun. Also, the label kept the misspelled name because the single blew up, so the band got stuck as the Human Binds forever. Why it's forgotten. Underrated. They got a huge hit, but the next singles didn't hit the same, like Turn On Your Love Light, which only reached number 80. So the big spotlight moved on fast. And once the late 60 seconds got heavier and more serious, a jumpy shout-along record like this got treated like a novelty, even though it's pure pop energy done right. Real heads, keep this one like a secret key. This is Crate Digger Gold. Keep listening, because number 3 is smoother and sneakier, but the hook is so strong, it'll stick in your head all day. Number 3, the Blues Magoos, We Ain't Got Nothing Yet. This one hits like a bright flash of color in the middle of a noisy 1966 street. Picture a small club with flashing lights, kids packed shoulder to shoulder, and that fuzzy organ sound jumping out of the speaker like electricity. It's loud, fun, and impossible to sit still to. The Blues Magoos came out of the Bronx, New York, and they mixed pop hooks with psychedelic rock energy before most people even knew what psychedelic meant. Their big song, We Ain't Got Nothing Yet, dropped in 1966 on Mercury Records, produced by Bob Wilde, and it shot all the way to No. 5 on the Billboard Hot 100.
We ain't got nothing yet. No, we ain't got nothing yet.
The lyrics are simple and playful, basically saying we don't have much, but we've got each other and this feeling. That raw joy made it a radio monster and a teen favorite. They followed it with albums like Psychedelic Lollipop and Electric Comic Book, which later became cult classics for people digging into early psych pop history.
We ain't got nothing yet.
Fun fact, that famous buzzing sound everyone remembers? It came from an electric organ run through distortion, not a guitar, which was wild and new back then. Also, the band members were barely out of their teens, but they were already shaping a sound that later bands would copy.
Made enough mistakes, but you know we got what it takes.
Why it's forgotten, underrated. After the big hit, the music world moved fast. Heavier rock, longer songs, and darker vibes took over, and their fun, pop-leaning style got pushed aside. They also went through lineup changes and label pressure, which messed up their momentum right when they needed it most. Real heads keep this one like a secret key. This is Crate Digger Gold. And the next band, less noisy, more emotional, but the story behind them cuts even deeper, so don't go anywhere. Number 2, the Monks. Monk Time. This doesn't feel like cute 60 seconds pop. It feels like a loud warning sign. Picture a smoky club in Germany, lights low, people staring. Then the band hits one hard beat and it's like the whole room snaps to attention. It's messy, bold, and kind of funny, but also serious. The Monks were American GLS in West Germany, and they got spotted and shaped by a German management team. Then they turned into something people called the anti-Beatles. Their famous album Black Monk Time was produced by Jimmy Bowen, recorded in November 1965 inches, Cologne, and released by Polydor in March 1966. Monk Time opens the album and straight up shouts anti-war energy, literally talking about not liking the army and calling out the Vietnam situation. They even dropped a single like Complication, How to Do Now to push the album, but it still didn't blow up back then. Fun fact, their look was wild, partly shaved monk haircuts, black robes, ropes around the waist, and they leaned into this weird, strict style on purpose. And their sound was just as strange, a 6-string banjo used like a weapon. Feedback, and drums played with no cymbals, so everything hits dry and hard. Why, it's forgotten, underrated. They were too early and too loud for most pop radio, so they didn't get the big success they deserved. Also, Polydor was nervous about the anti-war message and later didn't release the album in the US, which helped keep it hidden for years. Real heads keep this one like a secret key. This is Crate Digger Gold. Keep listening, because number one is the kind of band that makes you say, wait, how did history forget this?
I called her yesterday, it should have been tomorrow.
Number one, The Left Bank, Pretty Ballerina. This feels like young love mixed with quiet heartbreak. Picture a small bedroom in the 1960s. Curtains, moving with the breeze, a record spinning, and you just sitting there thinking about someone you can't have. It's soft,
Somewhere a mountainous movie.
fancy, and emotional pop music that hurts a little. The Left Bank came out of New York City in the mid-1960s and helped create a whole sound later called baroque pop songs with strings, harpsichords, and serious feelings. Pretty Ballerina was released in 1967 on Smash Records and followed their earlier hit Walk Away Renee. The song is about loving someone from far away, knowing they don't really see you the same way. It reached the top 20 on the Billboard Hot 100, proving people felt it even if the band never became superstars. Years later, their songs were covered, praised, and studied by musicians who realized how advanced this sound really was. Fun fact, the main songwriter, Michael Brown, was still a teenager when he wrote songs this deep. Imagine being that young and already sounding this grown. Also, many of the band members were hired musicians, which made the music beautiful, but caused problems behind the scenes.
Was I surprised? No, not at all.
Why it's forgotten, underrated. The band had label drama, lineup changes, and control issues, so they never stayed together long enough to build real momentum. Their music was also too classy and emotional for loud rock radio. It didn't scream.
And when I wake on a dreary Sunday morning,
It felt, real heads keep this one like a secret key. This is Crate Digger Gold. And that's why the Left Banky sits at number one, because once you hear them, you realize pop history left out something truly special.